So welcome back, guys. Today we're back at Eric's place, and what I want to do here is take this tarp and set up a temporary sawmill shelter over the mill that you see behind me here. We came out a few weeks ago and we were able to get through 40 some odd of these logs that Eric has in this pile here, but there's lots and lots to go, and of course it gets really hot here in the summertime, so I'd like to set up a little temporary shed so that I can mill in the shade. And it'll be kind of a temporary thing. I don't really want to leave the tarp there all the time because of the wind and so forth, and it's just kind of really just for shade. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to set up a simple but sturdy sawmill shelter. It's not going to be fancy. It's not going to be really involved. It's going to be 2x4s and screws and a set of post hole diggers, and I think that will greatly improve our experience here milling logs in the summertime. Let's go ahead and get started and see what we can accomplish. So I think what I'll do first here is open up this tarp and make sure it is actually 12 by 16. It's a 12 foot by 16 foot tarp, which should give us plenty of width as far as going crossways on the mill, and it'll give us most of the length. It'll give us a sufficient amount of length. The mill is like 17 feet or something like that. 16 feet is going to be a gracious plenty, I think. We don't necessarily need to cover the entire mill, we just need to cover up the area where I'm milling. So I want to go ahead and unfold this and get it laid out and make sure it is actually 12 by 16. I don't know if there's like some kind of a standard on tarps. I just want to make sure our measurements are correct. I guess this probably seems a little strange, but you know, it says 12 by 16 on the package, so why wouldn't it be 12 by 16, right? That's not gonna work. Well, I don't have a ton of experience with tarps, but it may be the same principle as 2x4s, you know? What if an inexperienced person goes to the store looking for a 2" by 4" board, they pick it up, bring it home, and discover it's actually 3.5 by 1.5. That's 16. So my guess is that the other one is 12, and it is. Yeah, just a couple inches shy of 12, but we're gonna call it 12, so that's good. Now we know where to put our posts. So I'm not sure if y'all can see this or not, but I've got a hole right here, and I've got 3 others around the sawmill, so we've got it laid out in a very precise approximation. It is pretty rough, but it doesn't have to be perfect. What I'm going to do is put 4 corner posts up with some braces, and then I'm going to attach those corners to the corners of the tarp with some bungee straps. So that'll give us some pressure to hold that tarp taut, I guess you would say, and I'm hoping that'll do it. And if it doesn't, we'll add some more boards somewhere. But let's go ahead and get to digging our post holes here, and we'll see if we can get this set up. All right, so that's got our holes dug, and that was really easy digging. It probably didn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes to get all of those holes dug. So let's go ahead and get our posts in and see if we can get our tarp up. So the posts are up, and my original plan here was to do 2x4s with some braces, but I decided instead to do 4x4s and kind of lean them out. If you can see here, I don't know how well you can see, but the mill is level, and you can see that post is leaned out just a little bit, and that's just to kind of give it some extra leeway when I put the bungee straps onto the tarp, and hopefully that'll give it a little bit of extra stability, or extra play, I guess. But I did tamp these down really good, especially on this side over here, the inside, so that it could withstand a little bit of pressure being drawn towards the inside of that tarp. But anyway, there's nothing left to do now except put the tarp up and see how well this works. I hope, my only concern is that I got these way too far apart. They were far apart in the first place, but on top of that, they're leaning out, so that gives some extra distance. Hopefully the bungee straps will be able to reach far enough without putting too much pressure on those 4x4s. May have a problem here. Well, that actually worked out a lot easier and better than I thought it would. I'm going to tighten that one up right there. You can see it's got quite a bit of sag right there, and I think if I tighten this bungee right here, that sag will come out. Yeah, let's tighten that up. I think that'll fix that problem. So that actually worked out extremely well. One thing I'm concerned about here is my water jug. I don't think that I'm gonna have enough clearance right here to for the water jug to clear the top of the bottom of the shelter here. So I may have to move it up and down, but that's the beauty of this. I can move it up and down these 4x4s if I need to. It's really not a big deal. But let's check on that. And if that needs fixing, we can fix it. Yeah, there's no way this is gonna work. Well, maybe it will. Oh, whoops. Yeah, it's gonna have to be moved. The water jug clears, but the post there does not. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's just barely enough room here for the water jug. I do think it'll rub once it gets closer to the inside, but this is what I'm talking about. See our post right here? It's really in the way of that. So we're gonna have to move it up a pretty good distance to get that cleared. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. That turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I had these ideas of like rafters and stuff like that going between all those posts and 2x4s with braces and so on and so forth, but this was really the simplest and most straightforward thing to do. Putting those 4x4s in those holes instead of 2x4s and braces, I really think was the trick, and using those bungee cords to stretch out. It not only helped keeping that tarp good and tight, what it did was it allowed the bases of those 4x4s to be farther apart, which would give me more clearance on the ground, not only for me walking around, but around the mill for the tractor to get up in there and to get the sawdust, to remove the sawdust as well. I think there's barely enough clearance for me to get the tractor in there to scrape the sawdust out from beside the mill as well. So hopefully that works out. And moving it up also helped with not only sawmill head clearance, but with loader clearance as well. So turned out really good. I've got less than $50 in this, I think less than $40 in this project actually. The tarp was 20 something, I can't remember, and the box of bungee cords, which I actually bought for something else, those were like $10 or something like that. This is not going to stay up all the time. I'm about to take it right back down. I'm planning on coming back tomorrow and doing some milling, and I'll put it back up when I get here. But if I leave it up, the wind, if the wind gets too hard, it's undoubtedly going to blow it down, or at least start ripping things. And of course, the sun is going to deteriorate this tarp fairly quickly. So I'm going to take this stuff down when I'm not here just to give it some more longevity. But milling in the shade is going to be a pleasure. It's July, or almost July, and the sun is about to get super, super hot. Well, I guess the sun stays pretty much the same temperature, but it's going to get hotter here, and I'm very excited to be able to mill in the shade instead of the hot sunshine. So I hope this contributes to getting through some of these logs. It is time to go ahead and get on these logs and get this project finished with, and hopefully we'll have some videos to show for it soon. And I really appreciate y'all watching, and I will see y'all on the next one.